Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach and I'm going to do some more work on this CSLA custom serializer using a source generator. So one of the things I just had some thoughts on, and as you can tell by this issue, I've already tried this out a little bit and I think it should work, but of course I haven't done it all the way through. So this episode and maybe the next one, depends on how long it takes, is going to move some of the code that I keep generating when you have a child business object. And I essentially have to run this code every single time. Or I should say run, but generate it every single time. It's the same code for every single one. So I said, maybe I should just move this into the contexts and then call those. So you can see for the right, this is what I generate also for the fact if the target type is sealed or not. I'll also have that logic in here. And so I would call it like this, and of course pass in a true if it is not sealed. Okay, that logic is a little weird in that I should maybe say if it is sealed, then do that, but then it would be if not is sealed, whatever, same thing. So that's going to hide all that logic in here. And the one thing I don't like is for the read, you kind of have to create a delegate to do that. And that's not entirely ideal. I wish I didn't have to do that, but I can't think of a way right now to get this so that you can pass in something so that can call load property, because that's actually something that you can only call if you're within the business object. So this makes it one and done. There may be a little bit of overhead with the load property, but one thing I noticed is when I was actually reading the property, in some cases, I don't think, doing this cast here correctly. And this matters because when you're calling load property with something, you want to make sure that you're passing in something that's actually typed, and doing it this way is actually going to work. So if you don't, you'll notice that I looked and you end up calling in CSLA load property by reflection. And so you incurred some reflection cost if you pass in an object because it doesn't know what type it is. So I said, okay, we'll do it this way. And hopefully that will negate any cost that there would be by using a lambda. So the thing again I like about it is that it basically makes it one line of code. So I add these two in here. I could theoretically also test these once I get like tests specifically around the context. I can test these methods and handle all the if cases and things like that. So that's cool. So I'm going to start working on putting these back in a real branch and writing changing the code so that it's writing out the code correctly and then making sure everything passes. I want to make sure that the integration tests pass. That's what's key. The unit tests are going to all break because I'm going to change what code I'm generating. But as long as the integration tests pass, that's cool. I also need to do some work off camera to shore up the tests so that they're in specific like stereotype groups and handle the cases in there specifically. Otherwise, it's going to become a mess. But I'm going to do that off camera because that's just a project cleanup thing. And then I also want to work on getting the performance tests set up so that I can run them for different scenarios and make sure that's all good. One thing I just said, which is this may take an episode or two, I noticed when I was editing the videos for all of the work I did around open generics in rocks, it took a long time. And in fact, there was a lot of work that I didn't even record. That feature probably was the one that took the most amount of time to actually work. I think there was the time when I actually changed rocks from generating code at runtime to generating code at compile time when source generators became a thing. That took some time. There's also a couple of other features I've done that definitely took some rework. Open generics was one of them. And I knew there would be some corner cases. And oh, yes, there were. Fortunately, with this isn't as big of a problem scope. So hopefully I can get this done. But like I've always said, sometimes things take a lot longer than you expect. Okay, so we have our branch. And now what I'm going to do is come into our writer context and let's grab this code Whoops. Oh, don't go that fast. Come on, slow down. No, wait a minute. That's not what why did it, I did some keystroke that made it think I wanted to add in something new. So we've got the writer, what do you call it? We're calling this write. So we'll just plop that in there and it should just work because I was, again, trying this out before. And I do believe that eventually we're going to get rid of like get reference. So if I come back up into here and I say EFI dot get reference, yeah, there's a couple places that I do it in the stereotype builder and things like that. So I have it in the writer context, in the stereotype builder. What we're going to do here, actually, this will be a good place to make sure because where this is happening is where we're going to want to change our code to be doing the right thing. And by that, I mean this. Okay. So what we want to do now is just say indent writer write line and essentially do that. Okay. But of course, we need to do more than that. We need to say that, and then we're going to need to put that in here. And then we need to say the manage backing field name. And we need to put that, I think, there. Yep. And then we need to say, yeah, because that's in the context. And then we also need to pass in 1, 2, 1. And then here we want to pass in is not sealed. So, yeah, this is saying it is sealed, but we want to say is not sealed. And that's it. Now, I know I made that that second parameter optional, but I think I'm going to change that to making it required because I'm always going to be passing in whether it is or not. And then essentially this all goes away. We no longer have all that. And then guess what? Yep. It's going to tell me nope, not that. You need to make this an expression body member. Yes, you do. And that's it. That takes care of that. So now if we go to our get reference, that is on the reader, which is good. We want to make sure that we're only doing this on the writers. So like that. So if I come back here, wait, no, I want to go to that because now I've got the right code I want to do, but I was on the stereotype builder. Now I want to be on the read-only list builder. And this one I also have to be a little bit careful because, well, for the actual lists, they have this deleted list thing. And so what I want to make sure, oh yeah, actually we want to make sure I didn't screw that up. So on the writer here, let's make sure that I compare with unmodified and I do write null. No, that's everything. Okay, cool. That one's okay. And that makes sense. With the, oh, and then what's interesting is that makes that go away. And then somewhere up in here, it should light up and say build reader, build write. Well, something's going to yell and say, hey, you're not passing that in anymore, but that's okay. We don't need that anymore. Here's the thing. We only want to, what we want to keep is we say, oh, sorry. That's another thing I got to make sure. Let's compare with unmodified again. We are only saying read property. Okay. Yeah, the surgery, I just want to make sure I'm doing correctly because in this case, it's correct. With the read-only list builder, we are also doing that. So we want to do something like, you stupid. What we want to do is basically grab that and put that in there. And then that, except not just that, we also want to capture that because in this case we do that for some reason. There. And that's it. And then we don't need to do any indenting or outdenting. The one thing though that we need to do here is that because, oh yeah. Okay. So it's not quite as straightforward as this. We want to say for each var item in this, then we do this part. Okay. So let's back that out. And this is where we want to say, oh, yeah, this is unfortunate. This is unfortunate. Because this is almost the same code, but not quite. In this case, we're not doing a read property, but what we could do is, because what we're passing into context writer is something like that. And of course, we're assuming that the thing is iGenerator serializable, which technically may not be true, but I think if you're using these lists in CSLA, they assume that your child ones will also be that. Okay, so we're actually not that bad off. What we can do here is take this and then, yeah, we have the is not null check. So actually what we should do is say for that, put that there, because it's possible we're giving something that's null. And so in this case, what we're going to do is pass in item. But what we want here too is we're going to need to do that because we want to take that and put in not model is, yeah, I think it's the same. Like we want to say that. Okay. And then we can get rid of all this. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of this. And we can get rid of that. And then we just do that. Except I think I went one too far. There. Cool. So that's actually much cleaner. And then we could actually take this and put that in there, move that over, bring that there. And then again, we don't need to do any of this. And then we're going to be told, make that expression body member, which is fine. Why does it not follow the tabs? I wish it did. There. Okay. But cool. We're done. That's nice. I like that. I really, really like that. That's shoot. I don't. I just realized something. Okay, I do. Okay, it took me a second. What this is saying is the actual business object, I think, for that list. If that target is sealed or not sealed, that's what we care about. Because if the thing is sealed, we always know it's going to be of that type. If we don't, we can't do the same thing. Okay, this is why branches are nice, because this might come to bite me later. Okay, so we have the stereotype builder. We have the read-only list builder. This one might be a little, yeah, we can't do this one because this is almost, yeah, this isn't a stereotype per se, so we can't quite do the same thing, which is this whole claims principal builder. We have to do it this way. This is a specific way of serializing state. So this one has to unfortunately stay. And this also means that we can't hide the get reference or the get type names. I think we're going to want to keep those public, which is fine. It's fine. It's fine. We can do that. And so here we're going to have to keep this the way it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Okay. What's this one? Business list base. Yeah, and I think that's it. This up here, I think, is almost going to be the same thing as what we ran into before, which is null. And then we write that. So we can say for each var item, what we did here. This is still, I mean, even though I can't handle, whoops, whoa, that would have been bad. Always got to have those semicolons. That would have been bad. But what we can do here now is literally just do what we did before, which is that. And then we can say that with that, except we don't have the double dollar, but we are going to have that now. Crud, I don't know if I caught the right thing. Let's do a compare with unmodified. Yeah, not model, that's the same thing. Okay, cool. So we got that in there. And we can now do this, which is we'll put that on there. and we will do that. And we will push all of that over and then put that here. And then we don't need this. And again, it's going to be like, yeah, you need it to be an expression body member. Again, I like tabs. Why aren't you tabbing? Cool. So again, we've taken what we've had before and reduced the code, which is the whole point of why I'm doing this. Okay. And we'll come back now to the readers. So we change stereotype, we change read-only list base, and we change business list base builder. I'm surprised that this did not come back with the command builder, unless I don't handle that differently. There's a command base builder. There's a writer down here, I thought. So we say writer. Yeah, you don't need that anymore. So there was one place that goes. Oh, that's right, because a command base in and of itself just holds other fields. So this makes sense. So, okay, cool. Are there any other errors? Yeah, there's this one because that one no longer takes a value variable. And, oh, that was it? Okay, so let's close those. Come back to our issue here. And now in the reader, what we want to do is this. Okay, so let's go to the reader context and we will put in a reader method there. And now what we need to do is everywhere we were doing .load property, I think, no, well, I think it's still get reference. Yeah, because we still do a get reference like in the writer and the reader, but now the stereotype builder, this is for when you build the reader, okay? And what we think we should be doing is something like that. And again, we want to make the reader, this is always going to be something because, you know, this has to be a value. This one we're going to change to being required. And so what we're going to do here is say indent writer write line. And we're probably going to need it to be that. And so we do this. And what we want is this with the no nullable annotation because, you know, reasons. It does that right. And then we're going to need the property serialization item model. That's the data type. And then we're saying build helpers get load property. This .load property, because the way we want to call it is this. We're probably going to get rid of that build helper because we probably don't need, let's put a to do in here. To do, this can probably go away. So we want to say load property, but we're doing all that now in here, right? Oh, we are. But, oh, well, this is for when we're doing, yeah, when we're loading the property and we're going to be given a value. And that's what this is. What we need to put here is this part, right? Yeah. Yes, that. Okay. And arguably, yes, we could make this so that's actually a little bit prettier. So we'll do that and then screw up the world, but that's okay. Because what we want to do is have this be a little bit more readable. So where am I? What did I do to the world here? Oh, that. Okay. So we need this now to be that. And we need that to be there. And then we say load property with item that, and then that being that. And we're done. That's all we got to do now. That all goes away. I like that. I like that. Oh, and then we don't because, yeah, you know what? We could put that there, and then we could get rid of this, and then we could make that, and then put that there, and then you don't like tabs for some reason, and there we go. All right. So we have the stereotype builder. Where else do we have a stereotype builder, read-only base builder, which I think this is going to turn into what I had here, which is we want to read. Again, I think I jumped ahead. Yeah, I want to pass in that. So I want to put in, where is this going to be? This little property needs to actually do that, right? Because we need this little property, whatever the field is, that. But the read itself, I think I'm that 1, 2, 1, 0. I think I've got too much here. But here is where we want to do that. And we don't have, we have item.property. Which one is it? Darn it. I didn't notice which one it was. Property info data type. Okay, so property info data type. There. Okay. Now I think we have it correct. So it's 1, 2. I'm counting parentheses if you're wondering what I'm counting. 1, 0. Cool. I think that is now correct. And yeah, that went down from how much code to that, which is what I like. Okay, I'm getting close to time. Okay, proving once again that this stuff takes longer than I expect. But that is okay. So this is where the delegate needs to do a little bit more. Because if you give me something to load, whatever it is, I've got to add it to the list. So it's not just enough when you say read, say property loader add reference. So when you call property loader here, actually what's interesting is when I do this, I'm not actually adding them to the references, which that might be a little bit of a bug. If I'm looking at this code, when I do the for here, I don't think I'm putting in the value, whether it doesn't matter. Like if it's a duplicate, I say add whatever that value is, and then I break. If it's a value, then I go through all this stuff. And I would also add and break, but I can do that within, well, not that either, but this. So I can say context read all of this. Okay, but that's only half the battle. What I want to do now is say, how would you know? Oh yeah, this, right, because we're not loading a property. We're adding to it, so it's, okay, that's fine. What I need to make sure though is that we're reading this with no nullable annotation. And then here I just say add, right? Yeah, I just say this dot add. But we're going to keep that. And that is the lambda. And then I put this into there. Sure. Where would this end up being? So I think I got to keep that. That is it. And then we can now, well, let's make sure we got that there, because we're going to need to move all this over, put that there, get rid of this, and we're done. Special body member, that you don't like. Do you like, no, you don't like tabs, but you're going to like them. You are going to like them. There. So we say read of that target. And then once it's done all the work it needs to do, we just say whatever it is, add it. You're going to either make it a duplicate or not or whatever. And we're going to tell you whether it's sealed or not. That's amazing if that's going to work. Do we have any more? The claims principal builder, like we said, that has to stay. This is, I think, almost the same, except we got to keep this stuff down here. But so then what we can do is say, grab this in the for loop, put that there, pull that back, That's all good. All this stuff is going to be the same. That goes there. Put the double dollar there and put this over, put that there, get rid of this, make it a expression body member, and Bob's your uncle. It's not going to be as easy as this. But in the next episode, what I'm going to do off camera real quick is, actually, no, I won't. In the next episode, I'm going to start from square one in terms of running all the tests and seeing what broke and what didn't. I'm almost expecting all this to break, but we'll see. So I'm hoping that I'm at least close, because it definitely gets rid of some code and it does make some things easier to manage. So I am really hoping that this works out the way I want it to. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.